Kangtega satisfaction. So here we are again in the wild world of sports, looking at the black hole in the maps of the world because it's a thing. Now, I explained this before, but I didn't want to use Google Earth, which is the evil stepchild of Google Maps. By the way, pro tip, a map would be just fine, Google. Adding in 3D stuff that fails miserably and makes trees look like chewed up bubble gum, that wasn't successful. Just saying. So anyway, KML is the file format, keyhole markup language. It's for making 3D shapes. And it's failed, but it is what Google uses. Now you see here, there's these lines that show up when you do the map. Isn't that special? And here's Kangtega, and this one's Thamsurku. Kangtega. And when we look at it on the map, it says this is Kangtega instead of here or here. Dear mountaineering people, or mountain rearing people, do any of you have a contiguous real map that isn't got any ambiguity or conflict of what the names of these mountaintops are? I'm just saying, you know, silly me. But anyway, we're going to look at our two maps here. One of them ended up with an error that ended up making a hole in the map. Those of you who are video game geeks know what I'm talking about. Holes in game maps, 3D map projections, are common. So is the smearing problem. That's why you do the best you can with terrain and then you fudge it. If you see lines like this that seem to be aiming in a straight line almost north to south, that would indicate that it was taken at an angle going north to south. This is corroborated in both map sets here. This is Wikimap, where it lets you put in stuff. Yes, the half-truthers showed up and decided to do the equivalent to painting the Mona Lisa with a red nose. But anyway, that's cool. This isn't really the Mona Lisa you were looking for. So anyway, someone said, okay, do it in Google Earth. Well, of course, they called it Google Maps when it wasn't, and then they talked about 3D. But anyway, yes, this is the evil stepchild of Google freaking Maps. Now, I'm just going to go through the timing toy. Here's the timing toy. Bam! Come on, you can do it. Oh, there it is. There's the hole you were looking for. You also notice the smears now go at a 45-degree angle on this, and this one has them going this way. That means the image was taken at a different angle. And if you can track out this greenish tint along the lines, eventually the angle will change, and you'll be able to figure out how far away the image was taken from. Might be a short distance. We're not going to do that in this video because I don't give a damn. So anyway, let's review. Turning it off gives us that peak. This one doesn't give us a peak with a shadow. Wait a minute. Okay, well, let's see what caused this. First of all, you notice these stripes go this way. We're just going to do this one here. This is from 2015 and 2016. This is the way the map would show right now if Google didn't get a bunch of complaints. Yes, all those half-truthers putting videos out that show the hole in it, they fixed it. So what do people do? They say they're hiding what they're... Okay, now, bear with me here. Everybody get naked here mentally. If showing the black spot is them redacting something, then them unshowing the black spot, that's also redacting? Is there anything that isn't redaction if there's a change? Are you just afraid of change? Do you need a nap? Do you want a mint? Anyway, here we go. We'll do the obvious here. I'll grab it, tilt it, back, and you notice that some of the lines match up a little too closely. You also notice that blotch there, and you notice a repeating pattern. That's not rock strata. That's not Erica strata. You may notice it really comes close to being, well, just keep going until you don't get any smears, and now you know the angle. This image here, which doesn't show the other side of Kangtega, or whatever this mountain pot really is, was taken at this angle. That's the angle it was taken at. That's why it looks that way. Okay, well, if that holds true, and hopefully Google Earth can hold to its wonderful standard of having the worst programming I've ever seen for any product, let's turn off this redaction here, and let's look at this. Now notice the square angles on a triangular. See, this one here is a, you know, the hills are alive with ambiguity here. So let's try this one. How far do we have to tilt it before those lines disappear? About like that. You see the lines kind of point this way, so it's almost the same sort of problem. You'll also notice something weird about it. Why is there that edge there? Well, let's look here. Let's see what happens if we line it up exactly wrong or right. Let's see how far we have to push it before we can... Oh, gee, that's a copy of the top of the hill. You may have noticed something weird about the top of this mountain range here, or this mountain peak. Let's zoom in and tilt it back. Yeah, the sunward side has got a shadow on it. That means that shadow's in the wrong position. Again, mapping error. Well, what's with these straight lines? Okay, well, let's just go ahead and back in time here. And let's see when that shadow actually happened. I'm just going to grab the knob and drag it back here to 2009. Now you notice there's a stripe through here. So how far back do we have to go before that stripe goes away? Pretty long distance. Let's go back here. 2003. So the image was 2003, sometime thereabouts. And see, November of 2008, they took a new image and they applied it over it and it screwed it up. That created a precedent in the computer routine that Google uses to knit these together for the KML files to do that. You notice this really square edge here? Yeah. This is actually the original real shadow for it. And it's from the top down. You can see some smearing, and you'll notice basically the resolution just gets lower at one angle than it does now. So see where it was scanned from or scanned by. It was probably a flyover by a satellite, but it could have also just been an airplane. Let's see if we can figure out what angle it was moving at. Let me hit the north button again. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to zoom back out real careful. Yeah, this is how wide the strip of light was that they captured. And it wasn't perfectly north and south. And this is probably the strip they were flying through. Yes, satellites don't just go east to west or north to south. They can go at angles too. It's a reasonably good facsimile of reality, but it's not perfect. But let's see how close they got it. Now this is the 2003 image. That's pretty damn good. Also, let's see if they screwed up the angle. Now remember, just because the shadow's in the wrong spot doesn't mean it was faked or screwed up. It actually could be just that the 3D map Google's using is too simplified. Yeah, it's too simplified. There's the peak there, and that shadow matches up pretty close with it. Oh, wait a minute. Does it match up badly? No, not badly. But it isn't really positioned correctly. It's called a texture mapping error, or a hole in the map, or a deviation, or whatever. When you use 3D maps and you apply something from one angle, it's from a perspective. If it's straight up and down, it looks kind of okay, but any kind of mountain range or hillside, you need 45-degree angles at least to clean it up. And even then, you're going to get smear marks. And let's review. We can just put it back the way we have it now, and you can see the smear marks easily. Or we can go back in time by dragging it against its damn will to here. Let's look at the first images from 2000. Again, let's see how wide of a strip it was. You have to really back off a bit. Yeah, it really looks like somebody actually took a strip that wide from a satellite. There are some satellites that use about that ratio, as a matter of fact, so this was probably the map they were doing. Hey, wonder if they were trying to, oh, I don't know, get that image specifically. Anyway, that image came up, it was snapshotted, and it was clean enough. You notice how green it is on each side? Yeah. Now we can turn off all of that, and it looks like this. Looks reasonably good, and when you zoom in, it still looks good. But it has an unreal shadow because they had to kind of fudge it a bit. And it has unreal angles and smears because that image was taken from this angle. Basically, someone took a photo to get this fixed and ended up not cutting off the part where it screwed up the back side of the mountain range. I want to bring up another one here. You notice how clean looking this is. Okay, well, let's go ahead and do the hysterical. What angle do you have to be at to clean that up again? Pretty much that angle, otherwise it looks smeared. And you get rid of all the smears that way. Is anything being image duplicated? Like really? You know, obviously? Like, you know, it's like a real problem with it? You know, like really obviously image duplicated over and over? And yeah, it's kind of like that. It's kind of one of those things. Yeah, that's a faraway image, bent and twisted. there's duplication of image, certain features are copied, blah, 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 blah. You notice that and that match, so the angle is probably like this. You can almost sit there and figure out exactly what angle the satellite or airplane was. So let's review here, just a little bit. This is the best I could do, and it still sucked. Someone complained, put a bunch of videos up, saying there was a hole that was established after the year 2000. In fact, after, what year was it? 2014? That's the last time it had a pretty decent shadow that was realistic. So let's review. Yeah, it's still striped because they got two different strap lines, but let's just use this and go with it. If this is where you're having your deep ground base, let's let that sink in. Why would you put it in this mountain? Now, I'm not making a joke here. Let's go back to using the normal mapping things, even though they're defective. There are plenty of cliff surfaces here that you could make literally a mountain pass drill hole through. There are plenty of them up here where trains went through to land an airplane in. But then again, why would you? Okay, well, it's an alien base. Well, why would aliens need this? How many of you have heard of this really weird technology that doesn't require a landing strip or even a hole in the ground, but you can hide it under like a tent? Yeah, it's really, really Area 51 technology. It's called a helicopter. We even have Harrier jets that can do the same thing. Why would you need to do this? And again, it was only redacted a year ago? Really? But it was unredacted because people complained about the redaction. So, of course, that's, confirmation of conspiracy somehow, too. Dark 30 or whatever it is, posted a video a couple of weeks ago, and that's why people are asking me about this again. So I'm just doing this as a revisit. You're the ones who wanted to know this, so here it is. If you see smeared lines in a map, usually, not always, usually it means it was taken from a specific angle. So that was that angle. And the other image that does that was taken at either that angle, which is much more likely right there because of the duplications, which means it wasn't even able to see that side, or it was taken from this angle. And last, I'd like to point out, part of the mountain peak is being photoshopped down there. You notice this dip here that's supposed to happen? Let me get that stupid crosshair out of the way. You notice there's a white gash there? That corresponds to that edge there, but it's in the wrong spot. But notice what happens if you line it up right. You see the top edge of the mountain range being image duplicated down there on the ground. It's an image projection. I'd say you're projecting or something and make a joke, but I won't. Anyway, defective images aren't proof of something in reality. They're proof of someone having to fix something. And thanks to everybody complaining last year about this underground base done by the Nazis for some reason that was only started in, 2014. They went back and they decided to correct the mistake, so it's not messed up. And this is based on an image from like the year 2000 forward. Okay, so it's not a Nazi base because, Nazis don't do dubstep, and because 2000 wasn't when the Nazis reigned supreme. Next, they're not redacting anything if they put it back. Next, they interpreted it as a complaint and fixed it. Next, I'd like to point out on the Wikipedia article, if you want to know, you can go ahead and look at a picture of the mountain range from about 2 years ago. So why would you make a big black hole, as this guy's claiming here, because someone decided to go in here and spread love? Why would you claim there's a big black hole in the map and it's hiding something if you can just go there and take a photo? People go through this area. I'm sorry, but climbing Mount Everest is a tourist attraction activity. It's not that significant. It really isn't. This is not an uninhabitable, unfindable place. None of these arguments hold true. None of them make any sense. And yes, I've revisited it. And yes, for the hell of it, there's your 3D perspective. And yes, you can go out and get your 3D glasses or just download a copy of Portable Google Earth and do this. Or you could just appreciate some people going through a lot of effort to do a decent job mapping the Earth to the point that you can find some defects to piss and moan about. Everybody's a critic, so am I. Thanks for watching, have a good day, and by the way, I'm not endorsing this program, it's really badly written. Bye.